Well, hello everybody, and boy am I pleased to welcome you back outside in the real garden areas where most of the snow is buggered off for the next month or two. Well, hopefully till September, but you know, let's not count our chickens until they hatch, right? But I figured we would take a quick look at some of the garden bed ideas for this year, how things are going, and then of course we'll dive down into the dungeon and take a look at what's growing on there. As a nice happy note though, we have seen the first couple of ladybugs floating around, so I'm going to start trying to pillage some of those from out here, take them down to the basement, and maybe we can put the final nail in the coffin that has been the aphid wars. That would be so fabulous. But anyway, yeah, let's take a look at what the snow has revealed for my garden space and some potential ideas this year. Alright, stick around. So one of the first things that started to get revealed was this hugel swale raised bed thing that has all the garlic in it. Still not seeing any greens popping up yet, but you know, all things in time. I'm very hopeful. At the same time, you know, a little nervous. Seems like, I don't know, planting something at the beginning of the winter, hoping that it will grow come spring. You know, sketchy, even by my gardening standards. But we've been kind of thinking about maybe doing another hugel bed situation, kind of with a little gap so the lawnmower can get through, because that's where the long shed is and the entry into the back field. But if we start it basically where the end of these sticks are, and kind of go straight over, we should get a nice bit of sun on a raised bed garden there, and I've got plenty of straight branches and twigs just kind of lying around from the last couple of trees I took down, and Lord knows there's gonna be more, so why not? And then maybe in future years I'll do another one in front of it as I back into a pile of brush that would be great for a hugel mound, maybe even another one here, because I do want to, you know, make as much of this usable, useful, long-term garden space as possible. And we'll pan up here. We've got those two boxes that I was hoping to grow some taters in. See kind of a moist spot in this one here because I was just digging around. It's about an inch or so into the leaves that I find something that resembles compost and soil. So I don't know if these are going to work out for taters or not, but as I mentioned with shocks earlier, we're going to give it a try anyway, find out. Worst case scenario, it doesn't grow. Oh no, that's never happened here before. God forbid. Ah, the bunker garden. How I love this bunker garden. It's a bit of a mess right now. But this has turned out to be an incredibly useful and productive little raised bed garden. Thinking about doing a review on this. I think I put the build on the farm channel, so the review would be on the farm channel. But really, if you're looking to do a raised bed garden on the cheap, this whole sod bunker thing seems to work. I mean, if you don't mind mowing the front, back, and sides of your raised bed garden, it's not so bad. Still leaning very much towards doing peppers in there this year. I know there's chicken manure on top, but I'm thinking that little twisty claw will make it down, spread it out. It'll help break down some of the stuff that's already in there, and hopefully it won't be that much of a problem. I might put some leafy greens in with the peppers to kind of suck up some of that extra nitrogen. You know, plants like to move it around and share it, so that's kind of what the in-ground bacteria and the fungi and all of those things are for. So hopefully it won't be that much of a problem, because I'm kind of thinking about putting some of the super hots in here, because being a raised bed garden, even though it's made out of lawn, but being a raised bed garden, it is warming up faster than everything else in the yard. So it seems to me the super hots are probably going to need that. And then we're kind of toying with the idea, this was a corn patch last year, but I'm thinking maybe we'll just move peppers forward, possibly into that one, maybe even taking out this space here and into the carrot spot, and then possibly move the carrots forward here. And then today Shocks and I were discussing the corn is probably going to go in a little patch right about here. I don't know how well you remember last year's garden, but it should be all the tomatoes across and about 3 tomatoes in to plant the 200 or so seeds that I got for that espresso corn, 67 days. We'll just see about that. And then tooling on over here, we've got that weird little rhubarb bed I made. I like it. All the raised beds around here are kind of defined naturally with the logs. I don't see anything coming up there, and when I looked the other day, it kind of looked like maybe it had rotted all the way down. But whatever, that was a little rhubarb seedling that we found on the property. We'll either find more or, get more. No big deal. I think I even have rhubarb seeds somewhere, so maybe I'll plant some in the AeroGarden since it seems to sprout things. Who knows? And then this bed over here, we were kind of thinking, I don't know, maybe this will be the carrot bed, maybe that'll be the carrot bed. We'll see. Kind of want to mix the carrots and radishes amongst each other this year. And the Chaos Garden is getting a full-on conversion. I want to do 3 very large mounds, one in the middle, one on either side, and then I'll just do lawn clipping paths in the middle to keep it all suppressed. And hopefully we'll get some good raised beds developing there too. So I didn't come out and show it this year, but once again, as the snow was melting, these basically looked like in-ground pools, and I don't feel that that really helps get my season started. Whereas with raised beds, I think the rotting wood at the bottom of that is going to absorb some of that moisture, so it's there for the plants later, which is great. But at the same time, because it's up above the water level, it's going to start warming up and being ready to plant sooner. Or so my thinking goes. Remember, this was never intended as an educational channel. I'm just some dude playing in the garden, sharing what happened. Alright. But that's, kind of the start of what it's looking like outside. Going to be a big change in a few months. And always fun digging up new garden plots. So yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great garden year. Alright, let's go check out inside the house. And I guess that brings us back downstairs, where things are only a little bit warmer in here than they are outside. We're at that fun time of the year in the basement where the furnace doesn't really kick in that much, so it's not really all that warm down here anymore. But as you can see, the mouse melon is still very much just loving life and taking over everything it can. Got it climbing across here over the dead El Oro, up around and into the, it doesn't look like the MOA Scotch bonnet's doing very well at this point, does it? We got more mouse melon hanging there. Looking at this Caribbean red, not particularly a sexy looking plant. Most of the things over here have not done as well as I would have hoped. I can admit that honestly. But it's looking like I've got an affordable LED shop light source, so we'll be putting some of those in here over the coming months, getting ready for next winter down here in the Dungeon Garden. And hopefully, things will do better. But some of it is still very much a success story, like this mouse melon. It's got its little flowers popping off everywhere, and its attempt at mouse melons everywhere. So as soon as I get this out, there's another one there with some pollinators. There's another one there. I'm pretty sure this will be producing. We've still got some cold nights ahead, so it's not going out just yet. But it'll definitely be ready when it is time. Yeah. I'm just blown away by that. I would never have expected this, of all things, to be the plant that really survived and made it through the winter. Alright, aquaponics next, I guess. So looking at the recently rearranged aquaponic garden, the mint over there seems to be fairly under control. The sage is definitely growing more upward like I had hoped. Same with this tricolor sage here. Definitely more upward growth. I have decided, since there's only not even 6 weeks left, I'm just going to let these tomatoes struggle on for a bit, and then I'll just plant them nice and deep, because tomatoes are great for sprouting roots off of that extra stem area. Looking down at the parsley, we've still got those 3 in their little diagonal line that are struggling. They're alive somehow. This one's clearly doing the best of the group though, so that's fun and interesting. And the other mint in the corner here that is still alive, doing alright. Doesn't really matter if it grows inward because, well, it's mint, it gets cut back pretty regular. Now you see this one here, definitely no longer alive. After I tugged out the root last week, I apparently blocked up the little tiny drain that's in here, and so I had to pull this out. And it's time for it anyway. I mean, this is the original cutting, but I kind of left it because I wanted to show you what the roots looked like in the bottom of that. That is some seriously packed root mass. I've been slowly working the little clay pellets out where I can get them, but if you see that little tiny black thing there, that's how small the drain is in these individual buckets. So it's really easy for it to get blocked up with these little tiny clay pellets. That's one place I think that the AeroGarden kind of falls down. The clay pellets they include with it are so small they do get sucked up into that pipe. They should consider including more of them and a larger size. But look how well it works when that's not being a problem, right? Like, that's crazy. Mint are really known for massive root production and taking over spaces because of it, but still, I wanted to show you that. I don't know, a little blown away by that. Pan down quick, check out the fish in their floating salad bowl here. They're all doing alright. Seem fairly content. They got a good snack of aphids the other day. Still 20 for 20, which kind of amazes me, because it's still basically a salad bar diet, and you know, their main source of protein is those little sapsuckers. Let's cruise on over to the Darwin table here. The oregano seems content in its new position, but these fluorescent lights are definitely not as bright as they used to be, and they're nowhere near as bright as those new shop lights upstairs, so looking forward to replacing them. This is the Yahi Fantasy. Desperately needs to go outside where there can be some predator bugs doing it some friendly favors. And a little random compost pepper here that's in the jelly bag. Ooh, that's pretty light. Need to water that. But it's trucking along. This is basically all new growth. If you recall, that was basically just a twig, and I tried to rescue it. We've got a Kangstar Lemon Starburst there, I believe, that has survived its transplanting. I think those are a couple of the Batman's Hell's Bells. Random compost pepper up here. Just kill this light, or I'll just block it for a second. This has been struggling. I'm not sure it's going to continue in its little planter there for much longer. I think I might actually put it into some soil, and we'll see how that does. It's got some nice plant matter to it, but it's just, it doesn't seem as happy as it could be. The Yahi Guyana here that had all the flowers on it, I will turn this light off. Lots of them, you know, look like the flowers are on that next stage, and in theory should be forming pods. I'd like to think a lot of them have gotten pollinated, as I've been shaking the bugger out of it to knock the aphids over the fish tank. Clearly haven't gotten them all, but I've been getting as many of them as I can, right? I'm trying to stay on top of this. And once I see more ladybugs outside, I'm probably going to start, well, kidnapping them, bringing them in, and introducing them to the aphid buffet, right? So, anyway, we'll turn that back on, because I planted this after we were done yesterday, or last week, I should say. Yesterday. I wish things sprouted that fast. Just water that lid out there. And looking down at it, pretty decent success rate. Not quite sure what that one came from, but we'll toss it off to the side for now. Most of my varieties of tomatoes have sprouted up. Maybe not all of the individual plantings, but at least some of each variety, so that's good. Looks like one of my sunflowers has decided to go a little bit hog wild, and unfortunately I don't see anything coming up in this row that is leeks. But we got some good cabbage starts here. These are the ones that I got from Vessie's, because they're like a 67 or 70 day cabbage. And these ones beside it here, also a cabbage. They're early golden acre, I believe. These are the ones that I've been growing for the last couple years. A little fly in there already. Damn, it starts so early down here. But yeah, anyway, so it's a nice little bunch of cabbage starting up. Hopefully those will do alright. According to the instructions that came with the seed starting thing, I now need to leave this propped open because everybody is sprouting. And from what I've seen this year, if I want to avoid really leggy seedlings, I need to get them much closer to much brighter lights, because yeah, light seems to be what really makes a difference. I have to say I'm surprised that any of these sunflower seeds sprouted at all. I mean, it's only 2 of them at this point, but those were some pretty old seeds. They'd been through some less than ideal treatments, so yeah, I was kind of expecting nothing from them. And I was kind of expecting a small forest from the leeks beside them, because I way overplanted that. But as you can see, I did that with a couple of the tomato varieties too. Some of those seeds are just so small though, like one of these would be the grape tomato varieties, because I way overplanted that one, which we got here. The sweet aromas and the sweet Juliets. Oh, and it's the grapes beside it here. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to do some sacrificial snipping in there. Ultimately, I only need one from each pod. So in the cases where not all the pods sprouted, I can try and transplant a few. But mostly I overplanted because it's just plain easier to snip than it is to transplant. So yeah, that's what's growing on the Darwin table. So I guess that pretty much just leaves our little tiny cut peppers down here. So of course the furnace kicks in as I come over right beside it to film the clip here. But anyway, looking up here, we've got the Caribbean Red that I transplanted from the little shot glass peppers. It struggled for a while, but it looks like it might just make it. We've got the parsley that was transplanted from the aquaponics, and it's volunteer tomato that will eventually get taken outside. And then the tiny cup peppers themselves. This is the pea pepper from Charles Peas. One of the nicest looking survivors in here, but clearly this is a cute way to start seeds, but this is not a brilliant way to grow up your seedlings. After they get to about this point, I should have transplanted everything in here. Clearly I didn't. It's time to get on that for some of these other ones though, because I've got some nice varieties in here, right? Like the bootless scorpions in here, and I think there are some Bahuchalokia chocolate habaneros in here. And yeah, a few others that I definitely would like to get growing in the garden this year. So we're just gonna have to see how they do, and hopefully I can save a few of them. I guess these little kales that never made it into the mini DWC will probably end up planted out in the doghouse garden by the chicken run there. And oh yeah, that reminds me, I wanted to start some more Swiss chard too. Little DWC gardens trucking along, doing its own thing. Yeah, it seems to be better for kale than just about any of those peppers. I think they're all fully dead at this point. Somebody was asking about a fan the other day though. I do have one down here that's kind of pointed in the general area of the tiny cut peppers. Hopefully that will help them a little bit, but it doesn't seem like there's much that I can do for this. Might be time to just bail it on the DWC here and wash it all off and get them aphids off of there, which I'm sure the fish would love to snack on what's there. Start fresh, cover up some of those holes, do it with just the greens in mind, and maybe have a little more success. It'd be hard to have less success. Anywho, that's about that for down here today, I think. So yeah, thank you for joining me on the weekly wander around the gardens. It was really nice to be able to show you what's going on outside and discuss some of the things that hopefully I'll be digging into this year. But you know how it goes around here. Well, some of you know how it goes. Yeah, I have lots of plans and not all of them really get the time that they deserve. So we'll just have to see how it grows. But yeah, I guess that's wrapping it up for the basement gardens here today and the Sunday garden report. So come back on Thursday and we'll be taking a look at week 8 for those Aero gardens. Only been 2 months and I am just blown away. Those things look so much better than my tiny cut peppers. There's definitely a lesson for Mr. Bear in all of that. So stick around and we'll keep updating that as we grow. And yeah, much love everybody. Take care of yourselves, take care of your plants, and I'll see you in the next video.